Hi, my name is Robin Doherty, and this is my nutrition and diet therapy case study project on John Patterson. So, meet John. He is a 51-year-old male. He has a large muscular frame and weighs about 298 pounds. His height is about 5'11", and John carries excess weight around the midsection and in muscle weight. He was in the Air Force for close to 7 years and was honorably discharged, and he now lives in Ozark, Missouri. John works bivocational as a pastor and a warranty manager. He is married and has 2 daughters, one who still lives with them at home. John has a Bachelor's of Science, Interdisciplinary Studies, which includes world religions, social services, and Christian counseling. His wife, Sherry, does most of the shopping, as I'm sure they do together, but for the most part, I would say that she has that responsibility. And then their youngest adult daughter, Kelsey, who lives with them and will cook occasionally for them as well. All who live in the household participate in a mostly gluten-free diet in support of John, which is great for him to be able to have that support system. He does have access to medical care because of his honorable discharge from the military and receives medical care through Veterans Administration. He also has access to food because he works 2 full-time jobs and is available to provide needs for him and his family. I would say that they are about middle class in status, and they also eat out about 3 to 4 times a week, but John gets anything gluten-free. John's medical status. John suffers from a gluten food allergy, which means that it's an immune reaction to eating gluten, and gluten is found in a protein in wheat. It's a protein found in wheat, barley, and rye. He also suffers from hypothyroidism, and that is a condition in which the thyroid gland doesn't produce enough thyroid hormone. Lastly, he suffers from eosinophilic esophagitis, a chronic immune system disease, a type of white blood cell buildup in the lining of the esophagus. John was diagnosed with a gluten intolerance at age 50, with signs about age 49. I actually do remember him going through the signs and symptoms. He started to break out in hives, and there was a lot of things going wrong that we didn't really know of, and then until recently he has been diagnosed with gluten intolerance. His diet has majorly changed, of course, since then, with not being able to have gluten, and since then he has lost to about 20 pounds within that time. Again, he is overweight, so that is a major factor in it, with him weighing about 298 pounds, with the ideal weight of a male his age with between 132 pounds to 178 pounds. Medications that John takes is allergy medicine, which is pretty common, but he also takes pantoprazole and Armour thyroid. Pantoprazole is used to treat certain stomach and esophagus problems, such as acid reflux. It works by decreasing the amount of acid that your stomach makes, so it helps heal acid damage to the stomach and esophagus. When taking this medication, it is best to avoid foods that make symptoms worse, such as spicy and fatty foods. I also know that tomato-based foods is pretty acidic and everything, and so that can affect it as well. Also, it is best to help to cut down on caffeinated drinks, coffee, and alcohol. John does drink some caffeinated drinks and coffee, but he does not drink any alcohol. Armour thyroid is used to treat underactive thyroid, also known as hypothyroidism, and it replaces or provides more thyroid hormone, which is normally would be produced by the thyroid gland. When taking this medication, it is best to avoid walnuts, calcium supplements, and soybean flour. So my role in his nutrition and diet and everything, I have been very close to John and his family His daughter, who lives with him, Kelsey, has been my best friend for about 14 years, and they would say that I'm their third daughter. So we're really, really close, and so that I'm able to have this role because of my relationship with him. But I will be sharing nutrition information with John and his wife. I will also be helping research and refer dietitians in his area. I also will be encouraging proper nutritional care as a close friend and research and recommend nutritional meals, and diet plans. John's current diet is he eats gluten-free with his gluten-free allergy. They do eat out frequently, but like I said, he'll eat anything gluten-free. His wife, Sherry, prepares the meals when they do eat at home, and his family also does eat mainly with him in that gluten-free kind of diet. He does eat snacks throughout the day, and he does drink a lot of sugary coffee. He loves his Dunkin' Donuts. Some goals that John has, he wants to lose about 50 pounds or so. So with him trying to lose a pound a week, he needs to consume 2,570 kilocalories a day. His current weight is 298, but his goal weight is about 250. His weight before diagnosed was 315 pounds. So since then, he's lost about 20 pounds or so since then, but he still wants to try and lose a little bit more. So with those goals, though, he needs to reduce some fat intake, eat more healthy, gluten-free carbohydrate options such as brown rice, quinoa, and beans. Also, to increase his protein intake. So his energy intake and output, suggested energy intake of the calories that we just were talking about, 2,570. The carbohydrates needs to be about 321 grams per day, or about 50% of his diet, with the recommended percentage is 45 to 65%. Fat intake needs to be around 86 grams a day, which will be 30% of his diet, and the recommended percentage is 15 to 25%. Lastly, his protein needs to be about 129 grams per day, with 20% of his diet, and then the recommended percentage is 10% to 35%. Some fitness goals that we had discussed is just to participate in more aerobatic exercise, so walking for 30 minutes each day or walking a mile each day. He could go on a bike ride. Where he's at in Missouri, they do have a lot of trails, a lot of outdoor activities, so he can even participate in those, even just, so he can still enjoy his activities, but still get that fitness exercise that he needs each day. So this is what a day of John's diet looks like. We have, as we can see, we got a couple of Dunkin' Donuts. We got Dunkin' Donuts here, and we got some Dunkin' Donuts coffees. So he did drink quite a few, or as we can see, like his coffee was really high and really sugary and stuff. But his carbohydrates for this day was about 40%. The recommended intake is 45 to 65, so he's a little bit lower than that, and it needs to be about 50%, and so he's it's a little bit low. His protein intake is about 9%. The recommended intake is 10 to 35%, so still a little bit low, and the goal is to have 20%. So again, he needs to have an increased protein intake. And lastly, his fat intake needs to be reduced because his fat intake was 51% when the recommended intake is 15 to 25%. And the goal is to have 30%. So he about had twice as much as the recommended intake for that. So the nutrition plan we have set up for John is to eat a variety of foods with more nutritional value, to reduce eating out to once or twice a week to start off instead of the 3 or 4 times a week, to make more home-cooked meals, to reduce fat and sweets intake, and limit coffee to 1 large drink per day. So that would probably be a lot helpful instead of having multiple Dunkin' Donut drinks. He needs to also increase protein intake, as we saw before that his protein was a little bit low. Have a better meal plan and less snacks. So going back real quick, we can see that his meal plan and stuff was, he had breakfast, no lunch, and dinner. So the only thing he really had between breakfast and dinner was the Tostitos. And so we kind of need to make sure that we have a better meal plan for that. And also to walk a mile a day like we talked about, or to go on a bike ride or something similar. The nutrition plan as far as eating wise for his dinner, his meal plans and stuff, I just wrote down some recommended things, that could be easy for his nutritional value. I put down some hard-boiled eggs for breakfast, yogurt, fruit, oatmeal. All those would be very beneficial. The boiled eggs and yogurt would be really good for his protein. Lunch, he could have some salad, chicken breast, quinoa salad. It's just kind of really whatever kind of healthy things are there. Those are just some recommendations. As far as snack goes, veggies and fruit and popcorn, that would be a good snack. And dinner would be burger, green beans, and potatoes and things like that as well. So that is kind of the nutrition plan that I had set up for him. And that is all that I have. So I really enjoyed working on this project, and I hope that you enjoyed watching. Thank you so much.